Watch it later. Okay. So once again, these are basically three things the examiner is looking in your answer when you're asked to create, when you're asked to write down the effect of a phrase. Effect refers to the symbolic meaning, the result or outcome, which is basically the consequence, or exactly what the event is telling you. Okay. Um, we look at this example here. Chalega. Okay. So this is basically apart from the passage, and the highlighted phrases are basically the ones that you need to write down the effect and, for example, we'll just read through the first one. Acha, इसमें it's very important for you to understand the concept, contextual meaning as well. कि उस paragraph से पहले, उस phrase से पहले, उस बाद में what the writer is trying to say. For example, later in childhood, I ran away from home. It was a move to which I had given a great deal of consideration, especially as to what I would take with me, a sandwich and the cat. The cause of my departure was a meal I didn't want and a disagreement about clothing. I remember rushing to the cupboard, unhooking my coat from its peg, shoving my hands with some difficulty into its unyielding woolen sleeves, and fastening the brown buttons one by decisive one. This is it, I was thinking I'm leaving. Up to understand what the event exactly is, a person is trying to leave their home, a person is trying to run away from their home, and they're basically telling their last moments before departure as to how the person was getting ready to get out. This phrase, fastening the button, brown buttons one by decisive one. This is what you guys are asked to understand in terms of its meaning and effect. Acha. अब अगर if we try to think about it, what do you guys think? What is the factual meaning of this phrase as it is used in the passage? Online students, guys, anyone, Daniel, happy. क्या factual मतलब समझ आ रहा है इसे? Mm-hmm. Buttoning the shirt, okay. Fastening the brown buttons. इसका factual मतलब तो सिर्फ यही है that the writer is trying to um, get ready to move out. Now, what could be the effect? One by decisive one means he was so ready for the move that every action that the writer was performing was based on a very true intended purpose or a very strong conviction that this is what they want to do. One by decisive one, कि यही करना है, सोच समझ के कर रहा हूं, and this was sort of a decision he was making. So the effect of this phrase is that the writer was very much ready to move out and the decision was actually made. अच्छा, let's see यहाँ पे effect है. She buttoned up her coat, पहला, meaning to as it is आता. It shows a determination. This is the effect, right? Question, you guys need to obviously elaborate. 2 marks hai, 1 mark for the meaning, 1 mark for the effect, obviously. But you don't just have to write it shows a determination. You can elaborate. 2 lines hai, just try to write a bit on it. That it shows how determined she was to leave the house. She had made the decision and she was very much convicted towards doing this thing. So this is the intended purpose of writing this word. Writer could have simply written that he was buttoning up, she was buttoning up to leave. But the reason why they use this phrase, one by decisive one, it just shows the determination this person had. Yes, Mahanoor, this is the first language task. Okay. All right. Now let's read the second paragraph. Again, we'll have to understand the context first of all, and then this phrase. I yanked open the door with its frosted glass, through which I had first seen my younger sister approaching up the front path. Held in my mother's arms, a small, misty, white bundle topped with fiery red, which turned out to be a baby with auburn hair, the closer to the house they got. I stepped through that door, letting it slam with a satisfying thud, and I was off, down the path, through the rickety white gate and along the pavement. My legs racing under me, my shoes scuffed, always scuffed no matter how often they were polished. clattering past the neighbors' gardens and slumbering curbside cats. Now, this is basically the next step. When she's out of the house and when she was actually leaving from the house, exiting the house, and she saw her mother and her holding her small sister, her younger sister in her hands, approaching the gate, approaching the door, trying to maybe stop her. And she was running out fast. And in the phrase where she says, "My shoes scuffed," always scuffed no matter how often they were polished, that shows the dirty condition of the shoes, that they were messed up, they were dirty. And in this situation, the effect that this particular phrase is trying to create. Okay, I want you guys to tell me. मतलब तुम्हें समझ आ गया, the shoes were dirty, and she was thinking that her shoes are always dirty. What's the effect? What's the purpose of using these words? What's the purpose of writing this phrase? जी दयाल मैं बता इसका क्या मतलब है? And you're trying to put her in this situation right here. Now, what exactly is happening? She's trying to leave the house. She's in a hurry. Her shoes are dirty. She's just moving out. So what's the effect of this in the paragraph? The writer is in a hurry, yes, this could be an effect. That they didn't have time to maybe clean their shoes as well because they had to leave. But she was like, her shoes were always scuffed, no matter how often they were polished. They were always dirty. But what's the effect of it? She's always busy. She doesn't have time to take care of her shoes, maybe. Let's see the effect. She was untidy. So you're creating a judgment not on the shoes, but on the person herself. That because she had no time to clean her shoes and they were always scuffed, that means this person herself was maybe untidy. She never took care of her shoes, of her maybe appearance, of her clothes. So intended purpose क्या होता है? An extended meaning of the phrase. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly what the writer has written. Writer ने क्या लिखा था about the shoes being dirty. But the extended meaning is what? About her personality. So this is a judgment that you sort of create based on the effect. And the writer in this passage was trying to create the same effect, that she was untidy. इसकी बिल्कुल मार्क्सिंग होती है। आप जब भी पास पेपर करें, आप साथ मार्क्सिंग देख लें, आपको समझ आ जाएगा कि जनरली एक होता है, लेकिन they do allow certain deviations. अब इसकी जगह if you maybe write she didn't take care of her clothes and appearance, that would be an acceptable answer. She liked living dirty, that would be an acceptable answer. She's usually stayed in a messed up state of appearance, that would be a correct answer. ठीक है? So words, obviously they don't expect you to have exact true words as per the mark scheme, but the meaning has to be the same. Okay, let's move on. Now here's another example. Okay, our cat chose the garage as the place to give birth to her kittens. Awed and delighted, our family visited her and her new family to worship at the side of the cardboard box, which was their temporary home. We watched the four squirming bodies as they burrowed into their mother's gray striped fur. My mother instructed my sister and me not to touch the kittens, not yet, and we nodded gravely. As soon as she had left the shrine and gone back to the kitchen, however, I told my sister to keep watch at the garage door. I reasoned with her that obviously there was no way I was going to leave those kittens untouched. No way at all. The sheer joy of plunging my hands into the box and lifting up all four kittens in a mewing, writhing mass and burying my face in their softness, they never walked on paws. How could I pass up this opportunity? Now, this particular paragraph contextually explains the birth of four kittens and how excited those children were to see those four kittens and how eager they were to maybe play with them, to touch them, to stay with them. Right? ये context समझ आ गया? And now, in the same context, when the writer says, burying my face in their softness, they never walked on paws. What is the meaning of this phrase? The factual meaning, first up. I mean, that's an effect, but I'm asking the factual meaning that maybe the children wanted to uh, just play with them, right? Right? Up the intended purpose will be burying my face in their softness that never walked on pause. Explains that maybe the writer was very much excited about the newborn kittens, you know? Or maybe they were um what you can say, ke, they were very much eager to be with those kittens because they never walked on pause because they were newborn. So everything sort of directs the conversation towards कि they were very cute, maybe newborn हैं अभी तक, um the softness of the kittens. You see, this is all the intended effect. Feel the kitten's fur, okay, and not shoving the face in them. No, that's not correct. Anyhow, she petted the kittens and put her face in their fur. This is the meaning, and the effect is it shows her excitement and joy. The extended purpose. Pet करना, उनके साथ खेलना, उनके साथ time गुजारना, that's the meaning of it. Excitement and joy, that's the effect of it. You guys, what? Gee, guys, I was on mute. Okay, let's continue. Now this is the third example. I hope you guys are getting how to attempt this question because it's very important. It's part of your reading paper, and you guys need to. And it's very easy as well. देखो, extended मतलब निकालना is always a judgment that you create one step ahead of that meaning. And by practicing directed writing, you guys are trained to go for the implicit meanings, to read between the lines, to understand the conveyed purpose of the writer. ये हम इसी की तैयारी करते हैं first language. So let's look at this as well. Now, this is a long paragraph and a very small phrase. Let's first of all understand the context. Yeah, and you guys, I'm sure you guys know that you cannot understand the meaning of a phrase until you understand the context of the paragraph, right? The cat lived an astonishing 21 years. There are photographs in my parents' house of me holding her when I was self-conscious, 10 years old, with teeth too large and crowding crowding my mouth, and photographs of me as an adult with the cat on my lap. When I was living at the other side of the world, years after the birth of those kittens, my sister, who was by then a veterinary surgeon, phoned me to say that the cat who a lifetime ago gave birth to kittens in a cardboard box in our garage had died of old age. She had been sick and could not survive another operation. My sister and I clutched the ends of our respective fawns close to our ears, separated by mountains and centuries and seas, reluctant to end the call because we both knew what would happen next. We would be transported back to the moment in childhood when we were separated by only the length of the garage as she stood, an anxious sentinel keeping watch, her head turning between me and the house as I bent over the cardboard box and lifted the kittens out. Now, this particular paragraph explains the time when the cat that gave birth to the kittens passed away, and the two sisters, they're now living far apart, and now they're on a telephone conversation talking about the passing away of that cat, and they're extremely emotional about that. And they're just recalling their past when they both used to live together with the kittens, and now they don't. They're living far away, then just sort of recalling those memories. Even this phrase transported back to that moment in childhood, इसका जो meaning है, the exact meaning, the factual meaning of this phrase is that they're sort of recalling their past. That they those previous memories. What is the effect? They are effect क्या हो सकता है? Transported back to, हाँ, they are sad, they're emotional, they're missing that time. You know, you only get transported into a flashback को पुरानी याद में तब जब कोई बहुत याद आ रही हो उस वक्त की. So this is basically how they were recalling their past. And recalling their past, abhi to dekho, this is the intended this is the actual meaning as of now. Intended purpose is a judgment that you create on their personality. Maybe they were emotional, they were sad, they wanted to relive those days. ये सारा हमारा एक reading between the lines में ये सब आ जाता है कि you look at the intended purpose. They're nostalgic. Also, Ibrahim, this is for 1, 1, 2, 3 O levels, not IGCSE. IGCSE में इसके ऊपर पूरा note होता है. This is a very specific question where you write the meaning and the effect in just one lines. Okay, this is O level specific question. They were remembering being with the kittens. They were happy when the kittens were born. Okay, another way of looking at this. That they, again, they're sad now and they were happy. अब आप हमेशा उसी वक्त में revisit करना चाहते हैं, बहुत खुश होते हैं किसी memory में, right? So it's a human nature. When you're very happy about certain things in the past, you only want to visit those moments because you were happy. So the effect is that they were happy when the kittens were born. And even the previous paragraph that we studied and how happy they were to play with the kittens, it's just that that paragraph shows that they were extremely excited. They wanted to play with the kittens. And now, 21 years later, when the kittens, the cat had passed away, they're just recalling it how happy they were in that time. Okay. Let's do one last example. Okay, यहाँ पे दो आ गए. I had no concept of time passing until I became aware of Aunt Joan behind me in the bedroom. She saw the open drawer and ominous silence developed that was broken when Aunt Joan hissed, "How dare you meddle in my affairs?" It was so shocking I had to sit down on the edge of the bed. Gradually, her old face assumed a tired, almost pathetic quality. She whimpered, "Don't tell anyone. They'll take all my pretty things away. And then they'll take me away." Her eyes filled with tears, her lips trembled with the toll of 90 years descended on her as she crumpled into a sobbing wreck. "Of course, I won't tell anyone," I said unwisely. "It's a secret, I promise." The awfulness of the dilemma hit me when I went home. What on earth was I going to do? A promise is a promise, but theft is a crime. And that seemed to me to be the only possible reason for Aunt Joan having these valuables in her possession. The context here is that maybe someone's trying to steal something. They'll take all my pretty things away and then they'll take me away. This just shows that someone has caught this Aunt Joan stealing things from the bedroom. And now when she was caught, she said, "They'll take away all my pretty things. They'll take all my pretty things away and then they'll take me away." Intended purpose, sorry, factual meaning kya hai? She's scared of maybe getting caught and she's scared of her things being taken away from her. And what's the intended purpose? She was a good thief, maybe, huh? She got caught stealing things. Writer's auntie is thief. ये हमें पता है. What else? Well, I think I would have written that she didn't know how to do her job properly. She got caught. Somewhat anxiously, I went to visit Aunt Joan again the next day. This time, she made the tea, and while she was in the kitchen, I took the opportunity to look at her bedside cabinet once more, but now it was empty. As she made no reference to my discovery of the evening before, I fondly imagined that she had forgotten about it. But now I knew that she had not forgotten a thing and had taken the precaution of hiding the jewelry elsewhere. But where? I wonder if it was there in the first place, or did I dream the whole thing up? I said to myself. Now the writers sort of, because they saw there's nothing over there in the actual place, they were thinking, did all of this exactly actually happen, or was it just a dream? They're questioning. Huh, she could be a nice thief as well. We can say that, of course. The second phrase, the intended, the factual meaning here is that the writer couldn't find those things and was questioning that if the stealing had taken place or was it all an illusion, right? What's the intended purpose, guys? Writer was confused, okay, was not sure about the actual incident. Hmm. What else? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. ये भी हो सकता है. Ibrahim, I really like this explanation as well. This shows that she was attached to her pretty things, and if they were taken away, she would have lost herself. That's also a very valid explanation about the first place. That she was scared of losing her pretty things. Why? Because she wanted those pretty things, right? एक चोर चोरी सब करता है जब उसको किसी चीज की जरूरत होती है. And this last thing that they'll take me away as well. But maybe she was so much attached to those things. It's fine. The writer doesn't like her aunt. This could be true as well. An intended purpose ये भी हो सकता है ना, वो बार बार पकड़ने की कोशिश क्यों कर रहा है कि उसको the writer doesn't like the aunt. Uh-huh. Maybe he was trying to protect Aunt Joan, right? Could be true. बिल्कुल हो सकता है. Let's see. पहला वाला, the meaning है all her stolen items would be taken and she would be arrested. The writer creates sympathy for her. She thinks she might be imagining things. She was trying to know what happened. As simple as that. पहले वाले में things being taken away. All of you guys were right. You guys were correct. These are just different ways of writing same things. Okay? Obviously, your words might not exactly match the marking scheme, and that's completely okay. All her stolen items would be taken and she would be arrested. This is exactly what the writer is trying to say in the first phrase. But the effect is of sympathy. हमें वहां से देखिए लगता है ना कि जिस तरह अभी इब्राहिम ने खुद बताया कि maybe she was attached to those things and she lose herself if those things are taken away. इसका मतलब है आपके दिल में एक फौरन उस कैरेक्टर के लिए सिंपैथी आ गई है. तो ये इफेक्ट था ना, ये राइटर ने इफेक्ट क्रिएट किया ना आपके दिल में इस तरह से सोचने के लिए. This is what you have to write. So again, just by understanding these phrases, it's important for you to know effect is always an extended purpose of writing. Effect is something the writer wants you to think about that character, or about that event, about a situation. It might not exactly be what's happening. Someone stealing things is a different scenario. You having sympathy for that person is an effect, is an intended effect that the writer is trying to create. नहीं तो अमूमन क्या होता है, someone stealing things आपके फौरन दिमाग पे नेगेटिव इमोशन आता कि that person is की पर्सनालिटी बुरी है, is not a good person, evil, ये सब. But you feeling sympathy is an intended effect. And this is exactly what you guys are supposed to analyze in these questions. Think about, again, think about uh, the type of emotion it sort of ignites in yourself, in you, when you read that particular phrase. किसी के कैरेक्टर के बारे में से पहली एग्जांपल में shoes were scuffed. We we created an image about that person that she was untidy. Again, judgment. हम कहते हैं ना जज करना. इसमें you have to judge people, the situations, the events. Only then बिल्कुल हो सकता है. लेकिन ऑब्वियसली एक एक ही करेक्ट जजमेंट होगी क्योंकि राइटर का पर्पस एक ही होगा हमेशा लिखने का. अगर मार्किंग स्कीम में वर्ड्स डिफरेंट है उसका मसला नहीं है. हाँ, अगर आपका जो लिखने का पर्पस है वो मैच कर जाता है, ऑब्वियसली राइटर का पर्पस तो एक ही होगा ना, तो फिर नहीं, नेगेटिव इमोशन का बनता ही नहीं है ना, तो वो पे गलत हो जाता. क्योंकि इमोशन तो एक ही तरह का क्रिएट कर रहा है राइटर, और वो जाहिर है पॉजिटिव है. अब जैसे इब्राहिम ने एक स्टेटमेंट दी थी वो वाली कि शी वुड लूज हरसेल्फ द पेट थिंग्स आर टेकन अवे. नो, दैट वाज करेक्ट क्योंकि दैट स्टेटमेंट वाज आल्सो क्रिएटिंग एन इमोशन ऑफ सिंपैथी, एंड दिस स्टेटमेंट इज आल्सो क्रिएटिंग एन इमोशन ऑफ सिंपैथी. हाउ कम यहाँ लिखते शी वाज नॉट अ गुड पर्सन? नहीं, वो तो इनकरेक्ट है. ठीक है, शी वाज नॉट अ गुड पर्सन, वो तो हमने इस फ्रेज से तो नहीं एक्सट्रैक्ट किया ना ये. They'll take all my pretty things away and then they'll take me away as well. She was scared ना, तो आपके जहन में आप वो तो एक इसका वो तो फैक्चुअल मीनिंग है, she was scared. शी वाज स्केर्ड ऑफ गेटिंग अरेस्टेड। इंटेंडेड क्या हुआ कि बंदा डरता कब है, जब उसके अंदर कोई डर होता है ना। जब तो तो ये इंटेंडेड पर्पस है कि वी आर सिंपैथाइजिंग दैट शी वाज स्केर्ड। What if he wrote she needed to survive for reasons we may not know of which forced her to steal? Yes, that would also be correct. Because that's also sympathizing with the situation. That you're not aware of her situation, but you're still sort of justifying her action of stealing based on the reasons unknown. So that's also true. So anything that creates sympathy, any statement that you make in the similar domain would be correct. Okay? I hope this is clear to all of you. If there's any question, guys, please let me know.